Hey now, folks. Welcome back to another edition here of Heavy Rotation, tribute to Cleveland metal and beyond. And we got a veteran of the Cleveland scene from back in the day. He's since made his way out to Arizona, where he actually has his own radio show as well. The BK Metal Mondays. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But we got Brian Kerr on the show tonight, drummer from notable Cleveland bands Adnauseam and Blood Coven. Blood Coven still out there doing the thing as well. Shout out to Dan, Saladin, Christian Crocker, and the rest of the fellas there. So hey man, thank you so much for being here, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, Matthew. It's been a while, I'd say. And man, I can remember decades ago working at Lakeland and taking courses there and being in that same studio. And I just found it interesting. Your one board with the old dials on it is the same board we have at Z89.3 in our station here. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I mean there's a mix of like older and newer equipment in here, but it gets the job done, man. And yeah, full circle, because me and you know each other because, and I'll never forget it because I I I hated doing the math classes I had to do here before I went to music school. It was explained to me like, well, you got to do this and that classes, like, and then you can transfer them out here. So I came here and then I had to go do the placement test, and you were the one that gave it to me. And all I was trying to do was just like answer it as fast as I can. Like I didn't even care if the answers were right or not. I was just like so annoyed with with that class, which was
Yeah.
which was probably pretty dumb in hindsight, but um I kind of knew that I didn't know anything. I knew I was going to need a tutor and all that anyway. But anyway, yeah. So you worked here in admissions, and then I remember I seen you later that night at Frank and Tony's, a bar in downtown Willoughby, and then
Oh, great, Brian. Yeah.
yeah,
Wing night.
honestly, I didn't even realize until oh my,
It's my favorite.
I totally talked over you, man. Go, what were you saying there?
Oh
Hold on.
no, man, I'll never forget wing nights at Frank and Tony's. That used to be a blast.
Oh, definitely, man. Legendary. Legendary. Yeah, and then I wasn't aware at the time of your history, within the in the metal scene and around here and whatnot. So it's really cool to to realize these things and to have an opportunity to have you on the show, man. Definitely uh Dan Baker, who's played drums in a lot of Cleveland bands, he saw that you were doing this and from my posts, and he was like, hell yeah, so I mean, there's definitely some folks that are myself included, but definitely some of the guys that I think were around gigging with you at that time there where they're seeing that, like Steve Shalati was another one that noticed it, and they were like, they're real jazzed on this. So I think it's a beautiful thing, man.
Oh, I do as well, man. And those guys are great. Back in the day, I mean, before they were odious and they were gutted, like those guys really helped my first band, Nauseum, get shows going and get noticed. Great guys. And I still talk to Steve till this day. But later on, I'll mention how later in life we even reconnected. And Steve's a great guy, man. I'll never forget when he got the gig with Immolation. But yeah, what a great guy.
Yeah, shout out
And
to
yeah,
him, man.
man,
And
that was years ago. I gotta say, my first band at Nauseam. Man, I was in high school still. I had to have been a junior, sophomore, or junior, and we all started jamming. And interestingly enough, our guitar players, Brian Pon and Jay Belhovic, they actually were taught guitar from John Sekula, JJ Sekula from Mushroomhead. And we were just kids at the time, and he's telling us about his bands he's in, and he'll teach them how to play guitar. And that's kind of what got us going. If we would have never met him, I don't know if we would have had Adnauseam. But that dude really helped out those guys. And he was picketing at us. He was union. He was picketing back in the day. We had Loman's Plaza in Willoughby Hills, and he was picketing down there. And we're just on our skateboards and bikes, smoking cigarettes, being rats, and started talking to him. And that was it, man. That started it all.
Excellent, man. Yeah, so I've heard, because Scott was on here, Scott Bryant from Odious Sanction, and he was talking about the musicians' nights at Flashes, and I know
Yes.
you had, yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about how that was, and that's kind of what you were referring to, I think, with Alex Sequoia.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, with Flash's Musicians Night, that's where we first played live, and it was a weekly thing. And you'd get there, and there'd always be a hosting band. Then they'd have a piece of paper on the door. Whoever gets here first gets a slot. We're only taking so many bands. And it just turned out we were there every week. It was crazy. Only one of us had a driver's license. And the guys that really helped us out back then as a young band, I would have to say would have been Odious, Decrepit, and the guys in Embalmer. They were just a huge support. They're like, "Oh, who are you guys? We've never heard Adnauseam. Where are you from?" And we were from the east side in Willoughby Hills, kind of the suburb back then. And we get to Cleveland and meet all these awesome musicians, and just the death metal scene back then was just thriving. And connecting with all those bands, that's what got us going. Sodomized, Dan Baker's band at the time, and great guys. And we just ended up swapping shows out with each other, doing all our DIY stuff, and they were a great help to us. But especially Steve, great guy, and Scott Bryant. I can't speak enough of them, man. They really helped my band Adnauseam get going.
That's excellent, man, and yeah, they're Painesville guys, right? So it's that.
Yeah, and we were from Willoughby Hills, and they were just a city or two over. And we're like, oh my gosh, man, there's these awesome bands we don't know about that are just like the next county, like city over. But yeah, Flashes was the place to be at the time, definitely for up and coming death metal bands. Uh, Gino or Geo, I think it was the owner. What a trip, man! I'll never forget getting our own headlining show there. And I mean, we're not even 18 yet; we're in high school, and they're paying us a little bit of cash, which was cool, and all the beers you could drink at the bar. And I'm like, man, we're not even old enough to drink. But it was so different back then, you know?
Yeah, man, I'm sure it was. Yeah, I mean, I think the place is long since closed, but definitely um seems to be like it was a moment in time, man. For those who were there. I wasn't there personally, but yeah, I definitely see. When I see those flyers you shared with me and other flyers that get shared around, definitely see a lot of shows that would have been cool to be at, or that look like they were, you know, um, uh, excellent, lineups, right? They were held at flashes there, like even like Pantera, I think had played there and stuff.
Yes, a lot of bands, man. I remember seeing, gosh, should I see Propane there and Agoraphobia? All those type of bands played their hardcore. I think the time I saw fan of integrity. I love my Cleveland hardcore till this day, man.
Right on, man. Yeah, definitely, across the board, hardcore, all different flavors of metal. There's well represented coming out of Cleveland. Um so yeah, dude. What was your start in music? Did you start as a drummer, or did were you playing guitar at any point too, or like how did things kind of kick off for you as a musician?
When I was about 12, 13 at the time, I had a cousin who was in a metal band back then called Mercury, and he played bass. And I'm like, man, I got to go see him play as a kid over at the Agora. And I'm like, you know what? I want to play guitar. I want to play guitar in a band. And I tried guitar for about 6 months, and man, it was just not in me. I couldn't do it. I tried to learn tabs, learn from other guitar players, and I just couldn't do it. So I'm like, man, I was always tapping on things, feeling the beat. I remember getting my first Pearl drum kit from, I want to say Midway Music on the west side of Cleveland, I want to say. And man, from then on, it was just drums. And my first band, I was still in high school. We just did covers. We learned by ear, basically. One of my first songs, kind of easy, Metallica, For Whom the Bell Tolls. Then we'd move on to Slayer. And then, we found out about Sepultura, man, schizophrenia, Beneath the Remains. And we're like, what is this? And it just kind of snowballed and evolved. And I'm self-taught pretty much, man. And I guess it worked. It worked for a while.
Excellent, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, uh easy to Metallica is a lot different of a band now, but like, back then it was like that was the start for a lot of people, no matter how brutal they took it, man. I mean, it was like, Metallica's, I don't, in my opinion, it's kind of untouchable. I mean, the newer, there's a cutoff of like, oh yeah, I don't really want to listen to these newer albums, but sure, man, yeah, starting off with a little Ride the Lightning, and then Schizophrenia. That's probably my favorite Sepultura album, Schizophrenia.
Oh, same here. And I love Beneath the Remains. That's a good one as well. In-
Definitely, man.
Interesting story on that. Ad nauseum, when we got together, we were practicing in my basement. And we found out about these practice spots that met around the lake. I don't know if they're still there. I think they are. And it was just called The Spot. And it was nothing but bands. And next to us was a band called Eight Ball. And I'll never forget their singer, Derek Green, sent in it was right when Max left Sepultura. He sent in a cassette. And like 2 weeks later, we don't see Eight Ball jamming. We don't see Derek Green up there. And they're like, yeah, he got in Sepultura. So that was kind of neat. We're like, oh my God, they picked him up. And it was kind of neat to see that happen. Someone local to get into a band that big. And yeah, he's been with them ever since. I don't think they have a new singer now. I know they've gone through some drummers, but I think Derek's still with them.
Yeah, I believe so as well. And it's like a weird thing because it's like, I don't know, it for a lot of people it's like, well, that ain't Sepultura without Cavaliers in it. And even so now Cavaliers are doing their own like just tour where they're doing all those songs anyway. But I will say, man, I mean, first of all, yeah, that's awesome. Someone from Cleveland to get that gig like that. And everything I've ever seen of that dude, he seems like he's super chill and humble. Um, but yeah, man, he did the songs great. When I remember I saw at Tattoo the Earth concert like years ago
I
at
remember
Nautica.
that. Yeah.
it was an excellent set, you know. So yeah, that place is I want to don't quote me because I don't know if it's still there, but I remember being at that, you know, the spot like that, and there was another band called Resist who I think we might have
Yes.
talked. Yeah, we talked about that for a second the other day when we were doing our little like test with Scott Beck, I believe Scott,
Yes.
who's now in Mushroom Head doing like the parts, I guess J Man's parts, right?
Right.
Um, and yeah, so I remember they were over there. Um, so right
And I
on, yeah, man, all in the
think
family.
he's still in Ventana as well. I believe he's still doing vocals of it with Ventana, and they're
Mm.
on tour right now. They've got, of course, Richard Stitch Thomas from Mushroomhead in that band, but I believe, yeah, that Scott's still doing both bands. He lives in New York City right now. We recently reconnected, which was kind of cool. And I remember this is way fast forward. After I left Blood Coven, I took a few-year break, and Scott gave Jay Belhovic, my guitarist from Adnauseam, and myself. He wanted to start a new band after Resist, and we jammed a time or two, but nothing happened with it. But to see him make it in another huge band, that was just awesome. I'm proud of that guy. He really grinded and did his own thing and made it happen.
Yeah, he's chill, man. Shout out to Scott. Um, so yeah, dude. So yeah, you were playing guitar, didn't kind of wasn't didn't feel like you're calling, and then you
No, I
got
hated it. I couldn't do it. It
and
was horrible. I don't know
you
how
got
you
to
do it. It's amazing. Guitar players are just, I give them credit, man. And that's just a skill right there.
yeah, I think I mean, you know, I have a lot of respect for I mean once you try to do it a different instrument, then you um respect it more, I guess. Cuz like, you know, I play drums here and there, program drums for stuff, you know, just to sort of get the ball rolling and um or if there wasn't a drummer available just to, you know, keep the song moving along. Um and then you kind of realize you're like, yeah, man, this is like really hard. Or like you give stuff to a drummer to play and they're like, dude, this is like ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like this is not like I don't have three arms. But anyway, so yeah, you guys were doing so was that when you were doing like Ad Nauseum, is that's kind of how it started, like with those Metallica and Sepultura covers and then originals followed from there?
Well, I was with a different group of guys doing those covers. And with the Nauseum, Brian Pond, Jay Belhovic, we lived really close to each other in the same neighborhood. And they're the ones that got me into death metal, man. And I was just like, this is awesome. You know, oh, malevolent creation, immolation, agoraphobia, incantation, all that. And ad nauseum, we were really influenced by immolation and incantation. Like those were our go-to bands. Like no one was more brutal. Onward to Golgotha, like that was on repeat all the time, man. And brutality, that was another big influence for ad nauseum. And
Excellent.
that band, we did ad nauseum, I want to say all the way back from 91 to about 94, 95. No, I'd say, yeah, 94. So we lasted a few years. As people got older, things started to change, and we all kind of went our own direction. Um, the bass player, well, our guitarist, Jay Belhovic, he kept doing music, and he actually did one of the Run Double Run albums. He did bass on that. Um, Don Fusa's band, Spud Monsters, his side band, Run Devil Run. And I believe he might have done something with State of Conviction as well. But Jay went on to find other bands, which was cool. And as soon as Adnauseam broke up, the first thing I did back in the day, man, in Scene Magazine, there would be musicians ads. And I'd look every day to see who's needing a drummer. And then I saw this ad, ex Sin Eater members, we are now Blood Coven looking for drummer. And I gave them a call and drove out to Akron, and it just fit great, man. And I really loved their style, like a blackened death metal. Because at that point, man, I was really getting into the black metal scene, Mayhem, uh, Immortal, all those bands, man. It was black metal kind of took over for me right there. I remember when the first Cradle of Filth dropped, I was like, man, this is mind blowing. What is this? But I would say once I got into Blood Covens, when things really started to happen, the big shows, getting to play with major headliners, that was fun. Blood Coven was a blast. I got to tell you.
Yeah, man. Very, yeah. So quite a history with that band, and in the flyers and stuff that you had sent me, some really killer shows in there, man. It looks like the one bill was um Morbid Angel with Dissection and you guys, or maybe even like At the Gates was on that as well.
At the Gates, yes. And then
Man,
just us, one local opener. And man, that was mind blowing. I'll never forget that show, getting to meet one of my idols on drums, Pete Sandoval, and meeting the members at the Gates and Dissection. They were just brutal at the time, man. And to meet those guys, and they were all cool. We're in this local band, and we were allowed to be in their hangout room, eat the food that they requested, and they were really cool guys, man. It was meeting David Vincent. It was very just mind blowing to me, but a blast. And back in the day, in the Plain Dealer, they had this lady that would do music reviews, Jane Scott. And I remember we had just got done playing, and I look, and this older lady's coming up on stage, and she's like, I'm Jane Scott from the Plain Dealer. Could you, I'm going to do a review of the show. And I'm like, man, we made it. Jane Scott's interviewing me for the paper. We're like, we've got Morbid Angel as the headliner, and she's talking to us. I'm like, we're just a local band opening for these guys. But I remember that. That was a really interesting thing about that show. I'm like, wow, we're making it. Sorry about that. Hope that didn't show. My notifications are popping up on this phone here.
no, nothing did show. But
Good.
if it does, I mean, it's okay, man. I'm gonna have this on YouTube, so you would see it there. But hey, man, if anyone's upset about it, I don't know.
Hey, things
leave a comment.
happen.
Yeah,
Leave a
yeah,
comment below.
yeah, leave a comment. We'll, but no, I mean, definitely, like I said at the beginning, this is a process, and I'm thankful for it, of learning how to do things more professionally and more, just raise the production value. That being said, I'm also going to upload it on Spotify, and on Spotify, there will be no video. So if yeah, like I said, there'll be more than one way to check it out after the fact. Um, so yeah, getting in with Blood Coven, then I love looking at them pictures, because I've just always known Dan, as I am myself at 43 years old, like to be bald, and
He had hair at one
he
time.
had, yeah, he had the long hair back then. You could still tell it's him. You can see it's him, but um yeah, man. So it was definitely back in the day, man. And then, I mean, what were some other like notable shows that you had, like, Um, I might take a look here at there's a lot, some really cool. I'm just gonna look at some of these pictures you had sent me.
Man,
Um,
we got to open for, I remember, My Dying Bride. They
yeah,
played a small venue somewhere on the west side, and they were doing great at the time. But yeah, we got on that one. And it really shocked me because we were getting on a lot of shows where there was only one local opener. The rest were all like headliners, semi headliners, which kind of blew me away because the bands that I looked up to in Cleveland at the time, like Decrepit and Balmer, Hemdale, they'd get on some big shows, but there'd be a lot of other local bands. So it was kind of maybe it was the promoter at the time. There was this guy, he owned a tuxedo shop and he did a lot of the shows. Oh, Mitch was his name. So Mitch got us onto a lot of those shows, which was kind of cool. He'd hand us a stack of tickets. Here, you got to sell these. And half the time we couldn't sell them, and we'd still play, but it was fun. I remember playing with Suffocation, the original lineup in Akron at a club called Mr. Ease. That was pretty cool. Oh, who else, man? A lot of Mushroomhead shows back in the day. Somehow we ended up playing. No, that was Adnauseam. We did a lot of Mushroomhead. We played with them, man, many times at Shooters and Erie. And we did not even fit the bill for a Mushroomhead show. So that was quite interesting. But back to Blood Coven, I mean, bands like Brutality, Master. There's this lady, she still does she doesn't promote shows anymore out of Michigan. The famous metal mom, Sandra Newton. And great lady. And she would bring us to Michigan, had us opening up for Master, uh, Gutted from Toledo back then, which I was a huge fan of Gutted. I loved the original Gutted from Cleveland, and I was so mad that they had to change their name. But I think it worked out better. Odious Sanction's a cool name. But
yeah,
Metal Mom would get us out there for a lot of fest, and that was a blast. She did a lot for us. Because at the time, bands like Master and Brutality, who else? Oh man, what a list. She would book those shows and bring us in. And it was just a great time, man.
yeah,
We
dude.
never played a mill. Oh, not to cut you off. The one thing we never got to do, at least when I was in the band, I always wanted to make it and play at Milwaukee Metal Fest. That's the only thing I wish we would have got to do. But man, some of the shows I remember we opened up for Peter Steele did his carnivore music at Peabody's. And at the time, I didn't realize he was in Playgirl that year. And we get there, and there's just all these chicks. And I'm like, man, what's up with this? And it just packed for Peter Steele, and it was crazy, man. They've got their Playboys with them. He's signing them, or Playgirl rather, and it was kind of interesting. I'm like, oh wow, these chicks dig metal, and it was farther from that. They were there for Pete Steele, man. It was funny. I remember State of Conviction played that show, and maybe NDE. They were big at the time too. Near Death Experience, great guys. And Bobby from NDE, he went on to do a project with J Man, and they had, oh man, on one of their albums, one of my favorite drummers, they had on their album, Pitch Black Forecast. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. And they even had on their album, M Shadows did a track with them from Avenged Sevenfold. So that was kind of cool. But NDE, they were a band that helped us out. But yeah, Blood Coven got the shows. It was really interesting. And I think it had something to do with our stage presence. Me, I was just a no shirt, black shorts, tennis shoes. You couldn't see me. The rest of the guys, they all did the black leather and spikes and gave the black metal look. But yeah, man, good times that was. There's
Yeah,
one show we did, which is kind of funny. Well, this was with Adnauseam. I keep going back to Adnauseam. I don't know why. We set up a show in Menor, Ohio at this club. And we just told them, yeah, we're a metal band. We got two more bands. We're going to be on this bill. And there was some kind of ball sports game going on the same day. So it was Adnauseam, Hemdale, and a band called Sloth at the time. Hemdale went on first, and these people were like, what the hell is this? The people are coming in to watch the game on the TVs. You're in the band area. You're freaking them out with your music. They're like, you guys got to get out of here. We're like, no, no. We got to play this show. We got fans that came here for this. It ended up, they paid us to leave, if you can believe that one. It cracked me up. But that's a band I wanted to mention, Hemdale. What another bunch of great guys. They came into the scene later, but it's like, man, you see these clean cut kids. Once they start jamming, it was just brutal. They were great, man.
yeah, I have seen
Good
some of
time
them
with those
videos.
guys too.
Right
But I
on.
can't
Yeah, they're
speak enough about Steve Shalati and Odious. They were always helping us out with shows. And Decrepit, Dwayne Morris, great guy. Um, they always brought us a board, which was really cool of them. And I don't think Dwayne's doing anything more. I know Chris Dora, the drummer, he's still in countless bands, man. Soulless. At one time, he drummed for Integrity. But Chris, he's an amazing drummer. Great guy.
yeah, definitely all the people Chris and Dwayne are, in my experience, yeah, really, really cool, humble, um, chill guys. Yeah, Dwayne, yeah, I think he's sort of uh taking a break from music currently. I don't want to speak for him or anyone, but yeah, I think you might be right about that. But yeah, Chris is definitely active with like that Kernel is the one other band, and um
Oh,
I want to
they're
say
great. Yeah,
I want to say Gluttons is like more like a hard rock type band with um
that's right.
James.
He does the
Yeah,
Gluttons too.
yeah, James from Ringworm. And yeah, I mean he's like, probably on everybody's top 5 list of like the best metal drummers out of Cleveland. Um so yeah, so yeah, these pictures and flyers you sent me are really rad to look at, man. I am looking at the one um that there was a show you guys had with Merciful Fate, and Overdose and Azrael were the openers at the Agora. Halloween at the Agora. It's spelled Agorea, as
Yes, the
opposed
Agora.
yeah, as opposed to the Aguara, when Guar would come through.
Yeah.
Uh, how was that being around King Diamond? Huh? What did you interact with him
I
at all at that gig, or was he just like in his
no,
own room?
I was really let down. Metal Mom brought us out to Michigan in Blood Coven for Merciful Fate. And he did not want to be seen by anyone. He had a tour bus, of course, and he had a request. He wanted Thanksgiving dinner on his rider for food, turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes. And he had an escort that would escort him from the bus into the club. I don't know. A lot of people might have been pissed at him. He thought people were after him for his beliefs, but I was so bummed I did not get to meet him. And the same in Cleveland. Um, they stayed on the bus and that was it. And then would come in and then leave. And that was it. That was the only time that's ever happened was with Merciful Fate,
Hmm.
which was quite interesting. And I love King Diamond. And I'm a fanboy. When we'd open up for these bands, I'd take my albums, my CD covers. Hey, would you sign this for me? And they would, man. It was a blast. Morbid Angel was really cool. All of them signed my stuff, which I'm like, oh, yes. And good times. And I remember, oh, another band we played with. Oh, where was that? We did a big fest. I want to say Metal Mom in Michigan had to do it in Tennessee for some reason, but we got to share the stage with Brutality and Ancient. Oh man, all these bands. It was just amazing. And Brutality was really, they were cool guys to hang out with. Oh, and way back in the day in Adnauseam, Internal Bleeding, back in the Wild Rags days, we brought them to Cleveland to do it for a show, and that was pretty cool. We did that one. There was a club called Riser's Rock Cafe on Euclid Avenue in Euclid. Ted Riser. I don't know if he's still around. He was like the cover king in the bars, the Ted Riser band. And I'll never forget, man, we were loading in gear, and his motorcycle is right where we're loading in gear in this garage. His motorcycle tips over. He's pissed. Well, who the fuck? Oops, excuse me, and that F bomb knocked over my Harley. It was crazy. He wasn't wanting to pay us. And one of the bouncers, and man, I hadn't have been 17, 18. He backs me into a corner, and I'm like, what's up? I'm like, well, when are we getting paid? He's like, oh, you guys aren't getting paid tonight after what just happened. And it was like, man, I felt so bad for Internal Bleeding because they came from out of state, from New York, you know? And I think we all pitched in and got them some cash. Ooh, Draghita was on that bill with us as well. I don't know if you ever remember or heard of Draghita from back in the day. They were another Cleveland band. But funny story with Internal Bleeding on that one. And I still keep in contact with Chris from Internal Bleeding. Great guy. And man, what memories with that. But the Merciful Fate, it was great to share the stage. I just wish I would have got to meet them. Mickey D on drums. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it was better you didn't. You know, sometimes they say don't meet your heroes or stuff because it's like, you know, you might love the music, but then maybe they're not as cool in person. Who knows? Or you know, I'm sure they had their reasons of wanting to be more private and whatnot. But yeah, that's funny. Ted Reiser, because yeah, Ted Reiser, yeah, he's definitely around, like uh gigging and you know and making his money that way. And um that's the last person I would expect to be like, let some death metal bands come and play. But I guess
Yeah.
yeah, bummer that they didn't pay you, but good on you guys for taking care of internal bleeding. That's a good story, man.
And I'm just
Probably easy.
thinking, why in the hell would you have your motorcycle parked right where bands are bringing in their rigs and shit? Like, of course something's gonna happen. But yeah, man, it was funny. I had to laugh at that. And I don't think that club lasted but a few years. But yeah, I was right on Euclid Avenue in Euclid on the border of Richmond Heights and Euclid there.
Yeah, you know, that's another thing, man, that I think is really cool. Like when you go back and to like, you know, the 90s and you know, just more of the old school, considered old school, you know, now that was 26 years ago or whatever. But like um there were a lot of venues that weren't like everything's kind of majority of gigs is like in Lakewood, you know, in Cleveland proper, right? And but then, you know, I remember I was looking at there was some gigs of like in Willoughby, like Hemdale playing in Willoughby, or downtown Willoughby. There was some club or
Yeah, we did a show with them there. What was it called? Derek's Down Under. Done at Derek's Down Under in Willoughby, downtown Willoughby.
That's wild, man. I wish it was like that. I couldn't imagine the city would ever let that happen now because it's very like.
And they,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, sorry. We had a little must have been the signal from Aho to Kirtland. It's crazy where I live, man. Right now, I'm in such a small border town. We have one cell phone tower, um, two internet providers, and one's independent. They ping their signal out of Phoenix to get here. Like we don't have Cox cable or any of that. It's the phone company still does dial up internet, or you've got the company free range Wi-Fi that you can get your internet through. So yeah, man, it's we're out there. And sometimes the cell service, we have one tower and it's just Verizon. And sometimes we'll go without a phone for a day if there's a storm or something. So it's a little different. But I thought it was my signal fading on you there, which is happens quite frequently out in Ajo here. But
There
yeah,
has been a
man. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
yeah, my bad. Yeah, I think there's a slight delay. So, I that is one thing I've that I try to be careful of like doing these interviews is like I try to like let the person stop talking completely, even if it ends up that there's like a couple seconds of silence. But but yeah, I think there's just a slight delay. And you know what? Like we were talking before about like because you were like, oh, you don't want the it didn't, by the way, the notification going on the video. But yeah, there's a couple times in the video where it has sort of glitched like that. That just is what it is. I mean, it wouldn't make me turn the thing off. It's just that's just life. Um
Yeah. And it's
but
real, it's cool.
this is gritty, man, just like death metal.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I'm just looking. You guys also opened up for Deceased. Deceased in Pittsburgh at the Electric Banana, man.
Oh man,
With
that club was a blast. Yeah.
say Sathanas or Satanas, however you say it. Those I have met them dudes before. Um, how was that? We're opening up for King Folly and Deceased.
King is a great guy. He just made everyone feel comfortable. He was no better than anyone else. And it was just cool. We I know Dan Salden from Blood Coven, he got a good friendship going with King. And whenever they do a show here or back in Cleveland, they'd always make sure to put us on, or even in Pittsburgh. We played the Electric Banana quite a few times. And that place was just a badass metal bar. And all the bands that would play, they'd staple their flyers on the wall and sign them. They had them on the ceiling. It was just really cool venue, and it was in Pittsburgh, and half the buildings on there are mountains on stilts on the back. And I remember, man, like the back of the club was on stilts because they were on the edge of that mountain. Great people though. Good times there, the Electric Banana. And who else did we play with there? I think we went there once with Hemdale. A lot of shows we would do with Hemdale, NDE, man, Sodomized, Decrepit, Embalmer. Great guys, man. Good time to be in the death metal scene back then. And I see Roy just got, ended Embalmer. I couldn't believe it. He's in his 60s. And he said, yeah, man, I'm done with this run. I'm done drumming. And I give it to him to play that long, man. Death metal drums, that takes some endurance. It really does.
Yeah, man. Roy is a great guy, man. And no, I definitely enjoyed the time. I enjoyed working with him. When I did. Um, I'm looking at this. Uh, what is this one? Oh, Cleveland Death Fest. It was you quite a lineup, man. Odious Sanction, Adnauseam, Internal Bleeding. They actually spelled dying fetus wrong on here. It says Dyine. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
keyboard here, and E is pretty far away from G. So I'm so I'm wagging anyway. But yeah, and then Decrepit, Sodomized. It was just like pretty much like a lot of Cleveland bands were on there, man. And then just you had some couple out of towners at the Red Eye Rock Club. It was.
Yes, North Royalton. I'll never forget that one. Yeah, Dying Fetus. The guys in Fetus, man, we were good friends with. And man, to see how big they got, I'm so proud of them, man. They're huge. I mean, they're still touring, putting out music, and they're just amazing. But that was a great gig right there. That was a good one. I remember that one.
I'm sure it was, man. I mean, like that would be a great gig today, man. I mean, I've obviously, some of those bands are not active, but I mean, yeah, wow, dude. I love looking at this stuff, man. And then there's another one here. You guys had played with Somnus. I know Chris Stoley, drummer, was I don't know if he would have been on this gig with you at that time, but I know he was playing in Somnus, and I guess they were kind of they had like keyboards and stuff going on, and like I think like a female singer possibly was it
Yes,
Somnus?
Rihanna. Yeah, she was their singer keyboardist. Rihanna. Yeah. And I think that's when Chris was in the band. Oh man, who was their drummer before him? Scott. A guy named Scott played drums, and then Chris came aboard. And actually, Blood Coven, we shared our practice spot in Akron with Somnus. And Lou, the bass player, he's still doing music. He's still doing his thing, Manicore, and they're just brutal. And man, they're playing different countries and things. And Lou kept it going. But I'm pretty sure Scott, he doesn't play anymore. And Eric Rushman, their guitar player from Somnus, he is a real good guy. But yeah, we shared a practice spot with them. And I used to drive, I'll never forget, 4 days a week from Mentor, Ohio to Akron after work. I'd get out of work and drive straight there. We'd practice and go home, go to work the next day, do it again. And I'm glad, man, we practiced so much, but it just made us ultra tight. And it was fun, you know?
Yeah, man, respect, dude. It's hard to get people to even just jam, once a week. Um, and it gets harder as people get older, of course, if they have kids or
Oh,
just
yeah.
whatever, things that are happening in their life. Um, so yeah, I'm just looking through here. Um, got some cool well, here's another cool one. It was a death metal show. Yeah, another Electric Banana with you guys
Oh,
were there with Odious Sanction, and this one it's sort of hard to read. I don't want to mispronounce it, but it's Migaus probably Migauss.
yes. That's it. You got it right.
Was that a Cleveland band or were they like in PA?
They were from PA, I believe. Yeah.
Excellent, man. What was that kind of style? Because yeah, I see They played with you on the Deceased show as well. I see.
And they were just straight out brutal death metal, that style. Great guys though. I think we brought them to Ohio. I know we brought, oh, we would play, Blood Coven would do a lot of shows. It was called Shots. It was right along the shoreway on 90, um, next to a strip club. Oh, what was it called? The Den, I think. I don't know if it's there anymore. I know Shots got changed into like a gutter company or something, but there was a strip club next to it. And we brought bands from Michigan, Toledo out. I'm not sure if you're familiar with, oh man, what was their name? We brought out Production Gray. They were a real good band out of Michigan. Who else? Man, fogs my mind. I got that old stoner mind. I still remember things, but it's a little blotchy at times, you know? But yeah, a
Well,
lot of good shows there too, man.
yeah, the Shots one, the Shots, it is that's the one I was looking at where you guys had played with Somnus and yeah, Production Gray, that is it. So it says Arius Death Metal from Toledo. Um Pr-
Arius, yes. Oh, I can't
Production Gray.
forget them guys. Arius, yeah, they were great guys. And Production Gray. And you can still catch on YouTube, someone uploaded, which I think it's just killer, a show we did. I think that would have been the same show at Decrepit, maybe, but they were doing a pig roast. And they said, "Do you guys want to get some bands out here for this pig roast?" And we're like, "Well, hell yeah." And it was Decrepit, Hemdale, Blood Coven, and we brought someone else out. I don't recall who though, but that was a great show too, man. And you can catch that one on YouTube. Someone uploaded that show, which is kind of cool. But man, I'll tell you, yeah, like Odious and Decrepit, those two bands there were two bands I idolized. Those were my local heroes. Um, Rob Molzan's vocals with Decrepit, just amazing. And the late great guitar player they had, man, what a good guy he was. But yeah, good times there at Shots, a lot of shows.
Right on, man. So I just want to make sure I don't skip over anything. I think I kind of went over everything. As far as your discography, um, you know, with Ad Nauseam, I guess there was a demo, and then there's some YouTube videos I reshared there, the links you had sent me. Did is there was there like an official release with Ad Nauseam?
Um, it would have been more of a demo. We weren't signed, but we did an official full length. Um, that one, Holy Hypocrisy. And for the life of me, man, in all my moves throughout life, I cannot find that cassette tape. Um, and we did, yeah, two demos, and those were done at the practice spot and met her on the lake. Some guy came around and said, "I'll record your band for $100." And he just brought in a little 4 track and we'd play live. And that was it. But yeah, as far as Ad Nauseam went, that was it. And right around that time, little did we know, because the internet was just starting, we would tape trade, um, give tapes to a lot of fanzines. There happened to have been, after we started, a band called Adnauseam in Colorado. And they sent us this letter, "You can't be using our name." Da, 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 da. I'm like, well, I get this letter and I'm call the guy and I'm like, "Are you trademarked?" "No." And I'm like, well, there you go. I mean, none of us are signed right now. And they ended up doing Ad Nauseam, 2 words, and we were Ad Nauseam 1. but we never changed our name. And I think they got a little bit bigger. I want to say the guys from the Colorado Adnauseam, one of them's in a Cephalic Carnage, I want to say. So some of them went on to do some bigger things. But man, that was a kick in the ass. I'm like, wow, Gutted just had to change their name because Gutted in Toledo got signed to Red Light Records. And now us, there's another ad nauseum, no way. But yeah, and that's about the time we disbanded. Life started happening, and but I kept with it for a while with Blood Coven. That one I think I was with them a good 4 or 5 years. Yeah, I quit in 98, I want to say, 98, 99, right after we recorded our Ashes of an Autumn Burning CD. And that was our big one where we got great distro on it. Little local label, Dim Records, took care of us. And that one sounded really good. That was a hard one though, leaving Blood Coven. I had some personal stuff going on in life I had to take care of. And I'm like, I can't be playing shows. I got to save money. I got to leave the band. And man, that was heartbreaking. I just finished my drum tracks in the studio and I had to quit. And at the time, it kind of pissed me off, but I can see where they're coming from. They were disappointed. We were doing really good. On that CD, they don't mention who plays the drums, and their new drummer was in the band photo. And I met up with Dan just to get a copy of the CD at one of their shows. He's like, dude, here, you were on the CD. You at least, we owe you a copy at least. So Dan was cool about that. But that was really rough. I think the guys were really let down. I had to quit, but life started happening and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, man. I mean, life happens, man. And you're a father. You,
Yes.
yeah. You have is it I know that you have a daughter. Is it do you have more than one child, or is it just the one daughter?
3 girls, man. I guess I
Three?
just
Oh
did.
wow.
Yeah, I didn't have the balls to make a boy. I don't know what it was, but 3 girls. And yeah, my oldest is still in Ohio. She's 29. And then there's a little bit of a gap. I've got a 22-year-old and an 18-year-old. And my middle daughter, the 20-year-old, 22-year-old, and the 18-year-old, they live in Phoenix.
Excellent, man.
But yeah,
Yes.
once family started happening, it was hard to be in a band. And what I did when I left Blood Coven, I'm like, you know what? I'd always been into motocross and dirt bikes. I'm like, you know what? With any spare time I have as a hobby, I'm gonna get a dirt bike. And I ended up racing locally, and that's when I reconnected with Steve Shalati from Immolation. He was big into dirt bikes and motocross and quads, and he was working at a Yamaha dealership. Uh, he and Big Steve from One Life Crew worked there. And those guys were the greatest, man. I started doing pretty good at the local races, and they got me sponsorship through the shops. Were able to get me tires and grips, handlebars, different things that helped out. And that's when Steve and I really started to hang out a lot. We'd go to the dirt bike tracks together and just have a blast. And I'll never forget when Immolation picked him up. A motocross company that makes gear, Fox. They had Fox Day at one of the big tracks where just industry people could ride. And Steve was great. He's like, yeah, man, let's go out to the Fox demo days at the Crow Canyon motocross track. You can get in there with me. And he's like, check this out, man. Here's my final copy of my first album with Immolation, and it wasn't released yet. And I had a system in my truck with some bass. And we put that in and cranked it. And Steve was like, wow, man, I've never heard my music on a system like that. And you could hear his double bass just pounding. And I'll never forget that, man. I was so proud of him that he got that gig in Immolation. What a great guy. And it never went to his head, man. He didn't forget his friends in Cleveland, his bandmates. He always stayed humble. And he's still that way. I'm looking really forward to connect with him again. Immolation, they're on tour right now, as you probably know. And they're making a stop in Mesa, Arizona next month. Well, May. They're playing with Cattle Decapitation, Deicide, and I forget who else. But yeah, I can't wait to just get there and get with Steve in the afternoon and hang out and reconnect. Great guy.
Excellent, man. Yeah, and you know, um, I don't. I've only met him like just a handful of times at gigs, but yeah, he definitely has that. Comes across that way, like not arrogant or anything like that. Just a good dude. Um, so now that you're down in Arizona, um, like I mentioned at the beginning, now you started doing a radio show as well, and I don't know, man. In some way, you might have. I think maybe you kind of inspired me. Like I wasn't planning to do this show. I just saw that Lakeland. I just saw it come up on my Facebook feed. I'm like, so then I messaged. I'm like, am I allowed to do that? I'm not a student there. I am an alumni. Like I went here before, but like, um, but anyway, here I am. So, but yeah, man, you've been doing this for I want to say like a year, like 2 years maybe with Aho station.
I'm going on what my fourth year,
Oh,
2022. Yeah, I moved to Ajo in 21, and the next year they got a station here. And the owner's wife was working at the independent Wi Fi company. And I just went in there one day and said, hey, do you need a DJ? And they're more of like a, hit pop station. So I did that for about a month. And I'm like, man, this really isn't me. It's cool to be on the radio, but I didn't know who Doja Cat and all these people were. I'm like, I don't listen to this, man. So I go, give me a chance. I'm doing some hard rock and metal. And the owner goes, all right, I'll throw you on Monday nights, 9 to midnight. Do your thing, play what you want. Make sure there's no F bombs, but after 10 o'clock, you're golden. Something with the FCC between 10 and 2 or 3 in the morning, they loosen up the restrictions, so to speak. But that's been a blast, man. Because I haven't played in a band. Well, no, I played in a cover band here and messed around back in Ohio, but I wasn't serious with drums after I left Blood Coven. Um, I jammed with a few guys. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of a band called Something Involving a Monkey from Ohio. Their bass player, Brian, he and I used to jam all the time at my house and mentor. And never played out, but just made music. And so I moved out here, retired from Lakeland, because at that time, what happened, I got diagnosed with what's called psoriatic arthritis. And it just started taking a toll on me. And so my wife at the time, her family lived here. And I'm like, yeah, I know I can get a job at another college out there. I was with Lakeland over a decade. Things are going to work out. But the arthritis started to progress, and it got to the point where I basically had to retire and work part time. So that was kind of a hard one. And I noticed in my drumming and different things, I'm like, man, it just kind of hurts to play. I'm not being able to control my blast beats. My double bass is just going downhill. I feel like my ankles and toes are just killing me. Like, what's going on? And that's when I finally got that diagnosis. And that was a hard one, man, because it's affecting my joints and my hands and different things. So I don't play like I used to. So I got out here, um, and I'm like, man, thank God Lakeland had such a great what retirement system you'd pay into. Since they're a public college, they're not paying into Social Security. It's all through, if you want your retirement, it goes through the state employees retirement system. So thank God I had that. And I ended up working at a cannabis dispensary when I moved here part time. And I'm a big pothead and advocate of cannabis. And I'm like, this is just going to be awesome. Hell yeah. So I did that for about 7 years. And then finally, it just got to the point, even with working part time, if I stand in one spot more than 5-10 minutes, I can't take it. It just, that arthritis just, it's horrible. So I left that. Um, that was a rough one. And right then I got divorced after about 20 years. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm out here in Arizona. I left home decades ago. Um, I always wanted to live in the middle of the desert at the end of nowhere. And I guess it worked out. I ended up in Ajo, and we're about 30 miles from the Mexican border, which is kind of cool because I can make a day trip and go to the Sea of Cortez and come back. And so I moved here, got on the station, and the station's growing. We're on HD radio in Phoenix, and we've upped our wattage with our receivers and our towers because the FCC every few years has a filing window where you can update your equipment basically and get longer longer output with that. I forget the technical word. The owner, he's awesome. He's teaching me everything, but to get your signal strength going further. And pretty soon, I wouldn't doubt it, we're going to make it almost into Phoenix on standard radio dial. But right now, we're on the HD3 there, which is kind of cool. And most of our listeners are in Mexico. And surprisingly enough, man, in Mexico, metal is huge. Hard rock and metal is what the people want to hear. And we get our ratings monthly, and I was shocked, man. 9 to midnight Monday, it's just a spike. And that makes me happy. It's keeping me into metal and discovering bands from Mexico that I never knew existed that are just some brutal metal bands out there, man. It's really interesting. But yeah, man, it's been keeping me busy. Um, we have a sister station in Wilcox, Arizona, and I was thinking of picking up a few shifts there to get the metal out, and that's closer to like Mesa area. But yeah, man, and I did do a cover band here. We broke up recently, but I'll be trying to form another one again, which was kind of cool. We did all 70s hard rock, like Old Scorpions, Zeppelin, UFO, Fastway, stuff like that, which was fun, but it was different for me, man. I'm always used to playing originals, and to be in a cover band, it's so much different. And I'm sure you know because you do a few cover bands. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, man. The goal is always, uh, it's always more fulfilling to do original music for sure. Um, for myself, I've realized that it's better if I just do these like solo acoustic gigs, and I'm doing covers, but I get to pick, what I'm gonna do. Um and I make more money that way too. So
Oh
it,
yeah.
it's better that way for sure. Um but I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe you got to do like maybe like a doom metal band or something, like you, because you said, like and I'm not trying to make light of what you're saying. I mean,
Oh
man, like,
no.
every day, like with the arthritis, like every day, we wake up healthy, man. Like sometimes we don't realize like what a I'm not really religious like that, but like, just like what a blessing it is, that we're able to, that we can do it, right?
It, it could
But
be worse
yeah,
always, I say. It could always be
yeah.
worse.
But you were saying you were kind of like the blast beats weren't feeling as coming to you as easy and stuff. Yeah, man, maybe you can get some like some just heavy like Arizona doom metal, man. Maybe that's
Oh
who
yeah.
knows, man. Maybe that's the next thing, man. That can be pretty heavy too. I mean, I personally like, like my favorite stuff is like thrashy death metal, like Monstrosity and
Oh,
like
they're great.
stuff like that. But like, I mean that uh doom metal, when done well can be pretty awesome too, right?
Yeah, man, like Trouble. And I kind of lump Candlemass in there. I don't know why. They're kind of doomy. I like a lot of the stoner desert rock, like Coma Cozer, King Buffalo. Who else is there? Oh man, old school, but Caius. That's another one. But yeah, man, I'm a big fan of all genres of metal, and I love that doom stoner rock. One of my favorite genres, man. But that's a great idea, man. I think Aho needs some doom metal.
I'm telling you, man, give it to him. Well, we're gonna we'll wrap it up here. Man, dude, thank you so much for coming on and like taking us back in time a bit, man. I mean, like anyone that listens to death metal and really like goes down that rabbit hole just knows that, you know, the 90s was like the pinnacle, man. And you were there for that, dude. So I'm like very appreciative of, I mean, just to have, and anyone that comes on this show, I'm thankful for, whether it doesn't have to be death metal, it can be um anything, hardcore metal, anything like around that, in the general vicinity, however you want to say. But yeah, dude, I mean, I'm very appreciative of it, man, that to share that part of your life with us, man. And I think a lot of other folks, that whether they listen tonight or they listen after the fact with, the YouTube or Spotify, I think they'll feel the same way, man.
Oh man, it's a pleasure. It's a great surprise for you to come along and ask me to do this. It took me back. It got me looking at old photos and flyers and how man, time flies. But it was back in the 90s, man. Yeah, death metal, I got to say that was the pinnacle. And we didn't even know it then. I'm just like, wow, it just kind of happened. Oh, I want to give a shout out to I don't know if you know Gary Pfluger. He used to own a record store, Wax Stacks, and then it became Ultrasound Records. And he's long since closed the record shop, but man, that dude was great. He treated local bands well, went to their shows. We could take our demos and stuff there, and he'd sell them. A great guy. I got to give a shout out to him as well, man.
Yeah, well deserved, man. I don't. It was already ultrasound when I started going there, but yeah, I remember his cat being there, and then because it was on Euclid Avenue, like in Menor,
Yep.
and then on 20. and then you'd go in there, and we were like skateboarders. We'd go in there and we'd be going through everything, and we would usually just buy like 7 inches because 7 inches were cheap.
Yeah,
I
I
had
mean,
I
he had them.
Yeah, I had a really crappy record player at home. It was just like a suitcase record player, but we were just like that was all we could really afford. So we'd go through all the 7 inches. Um but yeah, I remember I'll never forget that cat walking around like walking on top of all the records and stuff, and then he was over at then they moved it over by Surf and Skate. It was like in the same plaza with like Surf and Skate and like Tie Dye Sky and Willoughby.
Yeah, Vine Street, and next to the tattoo shop where my buddy Torrin Marshall tattoos at. I think he owns the shop now. It was Gen X Tattoo. Then I think it changed to Classic. But yeah, right next to the tattoo shop there.
Yeah, big shout out to Gary, man. He's super cool, dude. I remember when I had moved out to Los Angeles and I was selling all my stuff. I brought all my CDs in there and sold them to him, and I thought I was gonna get a good chunk of change, but I guess I didn't take care of them too good. They were kind of scratched up and stuff, but I got like a little $50 or whatever I got from him.
Oh man, and I regret it, but you can't look back. When I moved to Arizona, I'm like, man, in the rider truck on the way out, all my vinyl was gonna warp. I'm like, I'm living in the desert, and I sold all my vinyl, and I'm like, man, I regret it now. It probably would have made the trip, but yeah, that vinyl's long gone. But it certainly made a resurgence. That's for sure, man.
Yeah, some of this stuff goes for big money now. Supply and demand, if only 50 copies were pressed, and now whatever's dying fetus, I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
But a band that went really big that maybe, back in the day people wouldn't have expected, and now it's like, oh yeah, now people are gonna pay. I know outside of death metal, but like, a lot of this like old like Misfits, uh like 7 inches and stuff, people pay like thousands of dollars for. It's crazy, dude. But
Oh man, that.
there's only so many available. I feel like we could do this again, maybe a couple months down the line. It's a lot to go through for sure, man. I'm super appreciative of your time tonight, brother.
Oh yeah, and I know I can talk the balls off a rhinoceros, but speaking of Misfits, um, they did one of the Metal Fest at the Agora years ago, and Dan Saladin from Blood Coven, when we were in the band, Michael Graves got thrown into jail, and the Misfits didn't have a singer for the show. And they said, if anyone knows lyrics, you can come on up and sing. And Dan got to sing 2 tunes with the Misfits at the Agora, which was pretty cool.
What did
But
Michael Mikhail Graves get thrown in jail for? Do you remember?
I think it was like a drunken disorderly thing. He got wasted and got all pissed off and got into a fight, and they threw his ass in jail, man. Cleveland PD locked him up. And yeah, I'll never forget that. I I thought they would have canceled the show, but now, man, the Misfits still played, and they had people running up, and but Dan did a real good job. He's a big fan of the Misfits, and I think he did Psycho 78, and I want to say he did um oh another one, but I just remember that was so badass.
That's an awesome story. Definitely have to run that by next time I see him. Um, well, yeah, brother. We'll wrap it up for tonight. We got about hour 20 on the clock, so that'll make a nice episode.
Oh wow,
Um,
that will.
yeah, no, it's all good. Um, but yeah, it's excellent. Like I said, I'm very thankful to have you here, man. Um, so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Kerr, from Adnauseam and Blood Coven. We got into some history from the 90s, 90s death metal scene, specifically Cleveland, and want y'all to tune into his show, which will actually be on later tonight. It,
Yes.
it it's gonna
9
be,
to midnight.
yeah, 9 p.m. on in Mountain Time, right? So that's gonna be uh like midnight
Night.
for us here in Cleveland, right? But yeah,
That's
just
right.
yeah, go check it out, man. And you know, uh look out for a future episode. We'll get you back on here again, brother. I appreciate you big
Oh,
time.
yeah. And I'll shut up. But speaking of midnight, one of my favorite black and roll bands out there right now. Oh, man. And I don't want to give anything away, but with a member of their band, we played shows years ago with them. And it was just a trip. We did a show with the one member, and they were great band, and he did something really interesting, and it made the paper, it made the Plain Dealer, it cracked me up. Ruckus at the Red Eye. He ended up taking a dump on the stage at the Red Eye, and it was just like, what, WTF? Like, really? But I'll never forget that. But anyway, yeah, man, I'll quit yapping and let you end the show. And yeah, you can go to your phone's app store, download the Z89.3 app. And if you're up at midnight, anyone, check it out, because I make sure to throw in Cleveland metal and hardcore in there, usually every show. I try to do that, man. And I do a mix, black metal, hardcore, hard rock. It's just a big mix, man. And thank you, Matthew. I'm so glad we got to do this. I hope to do this again with you one day. And man, you could get your own interview with what you've done, man. Going to LA, teaching music. You're in multiple bands. You do solo stuff. I mean, Witch Room. Like, hell yeah, man.
I appreciate you, brother. I mean, doing this is awesome just on its own. But you know what I have realized is that you know, it's I'm building on relationships of like people I already know, of like you know, learning from them, like whether just like what their experiences were, or you know, even just like knowing more of the history, I think is just valuable. I mean, it's just cool to even talk about it, right? But like just know, oh well, these you know, um this and that happened with this band and this and um however you want to say. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's good all around. And I appreciate the things you're saying, man. You know, I mean, I'm lucky, and then my wife, you know, she supports what I do, and you know, we don't have any children to take care of, you know, that so there's a lot of things I'm pursuing for sure, you know, and this, you know, I'd hope to see, you know, that as the show goes along, I kind of even didn't even know what I just came in at first and I'm like, oh, I'll play some music. I'll play all Cleveland bands. And now this is like maybe the going on like the 10th interview or so, you know, and like getting smarter about it, like, oh, I'm gonna put this on Spotify too. And um
Brand it,
so
man. Yeah, make your own brand. You'd be shocked, man. It might just be great for you and just become something really big. You never know.
yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people doing this nowadays, of course, right? So, but I mean, you know, it's just all good. I enjoy it regardless, man. I mean, like me and you were talking the other day for probably half an hour. That could have been an episode.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because we were talking about some of the stuff related to this too, you know, and about midnight and stuff. So it's just yeah, it's rad, man.
It
So
is. And Yeah, man. Maybe you'll have a future in radio. I know a lot of the shows we have, um, they're actually syndicated shows, like on the weekend. You never know, man. You could syndicate yourself and have your own show and be playing in all different markets, different states. You never know, man. It could happen, and it's fun. I don't think radio is gonna die just yet. I think it's still there.
Yeah, I think these conversations are very valuable. You know, like I realized that pretty quick because of course I want to play music of bands and like, you know, particularly Cleveland bands and like, you know, in the efforts to get it out, you know, and more, you know, more people would hear it. But also nowadays it's sort of different, right? Like, you know, having the interview is very um unique, you know, as in like where a lot of people might say, well, I don't, you know, they're going on YouTube or they're going on Spotify um to to listen to music, right? So yeah, I've definitely, as much as I can now, you know, I've been lucky, like I'm like scheduling it out like, okay, I better keep on this so I can keep at this like an interview every week, you know? And you know, but yes, brother. Thank you so much,
Yes,
man.
brother, man. My brother of metal, and thank you for remembering me and having me on. Hell yeah, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. So we have your rotation with Brian Kerr, right? We're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Thank you all for listening and keep it heavy. Something like that,
Keep it
right?
heavy. Hell yeah. Break it to 11, as I say.
That's right. All right, y'all. Peace.